In the last video, we discussed the basics about how the ripple effect is going to work. Now, in this video, let's talk about a bit of more details about how we may know the position where the click originated and how we may position our ripple according to that. So, uh, this is one thing to understand here. Let me draw again. I think this one. Yep. So here, so if I click at this position, then to know this exact position where the click originated, there is no direct way, but indirectly we can figure that out. Let's say we register a click handler on this div, then uh, uh, when the click handler executes, we can get the location of this point with e dot what was it, page x or screen x. I think page x. Let me check. mm, Let me see. Current directory is fine. Yeah, e dot client x and client y. So we can get the position of this point with client x and client y. But there's one thing to understand: what client x actually gives us and what client y actually gives us. So if you see the code, x is client x minus something, client y minus something. That's because what client x actually give us is what a viewport we have. So this div, it is within this viewport, right? So if I change the color from this to another color, let's say reddish color, so the viewport we have now is this entire thing is our viewport, right? This entire thing is our viewport from here to here to, so this is our viewport, basically the view. uh, okay, so this is our viewport. So what client x and client y gives us is, client y will give us the distance from the top up to this point, and what client x gives us is the distance from the left up to this point. So this is cool, but okay, so it gives us from top to this point, from left to this point, right? But the problem is, let's say we scroll down and then we again do the same thing. So it will again, we click here, let's say, then again it will give us a distance from the top to here, from left to here. So if the viewport is total, let's say 800 pixel, then client y will never be more than 800 pixel, because it's always going to restricted by the viewport width and height. So now if you imagine, now the problem is, let's say we have the div, right? The div which was sitting, which may be sitting anywhere, maybe the div was initially sitting here. So we need to move this div from this position to this position, so that the ripple originates from this location. But it's not easy this way, because like from this position, or it can be anything, right? It can be on the top also. From that position bringing to this position is not, I mean, you wouldn't know the exact coordinates, because you are getting a relative coordinate, and then you need to calculate the position of this point, and I mean the absolute position of this point, to get the x coordinate and y coordinate. So an easy way for that, what I did was I made this div, or this span, with absolute positioning. This is absolute positioning, and then what I did was I am moving this span inside the container divs, and this has relative positioning. So since this is relative and this is absolute, this will always be inside uh, this div. So it's not going to move always, and we can work with relative positioning now. So let's see. So we have the top distance from the viewport top, and left distance from the viewport left. But what we now need is this distance, right? So we need this distance and this distance to move it. So there's one more API which we get is current target. Current target is whatever wherever the click originated, and let's say, okay, let me pick one different color. So let's say I had a click listener on this entire element, on this DOM node. Okay, I click listen on this DOM node, and the person clicked on this anchor tag. Let's say this anchor tag, the person clicked here. So the target element of the click event is this. But if we want, like, what was the original element where the handler was registered, we can use an API called e dot current target. That would give us this DOM node, because this was the parent element where we initially registered our click handler. So yeah, so with current target, as you can see here, with current target, I'm getting where the click was is initially where the handler was initially registered. And now we're using another API, current target, or get bounding client rect. So if we do get bounding client rect, we can get some information about this div. So information like from the top how much distance, from the left how much distance, and yeah, it's x coordinate, it's y coordinate. So yeah, we will get this. So if we have this information, the x coordinate and y coordinate top and the left, and we know where the click originated, then we can calculate this relative distance, right? So that's what I did here. I'm getting the initial distance from the viewport, and then the divs left and divs top, and then I'm subtracting this with this. But then there's one more thing to consider here. Okay, so there's one more thing which we need to consider. So let's say, let me pick a brighter color now. Okay, so let's say the click originated here, right? Now what will happen is the div, which is of the width same as this element, the same width and height of this element, and it is getting the max of the width and height. So the height is more, so the width and height of the ripple is equal to the height of this element. So the problem is when the click is registered here, the div would emerge something like this, right? So it will emerge something like this. This has to be a square, but it looks like a rectangle. But anyways, it has to be a square. And then imagine having a circle, because border is 50%. So if the originating position is this, then the ripple would actually originate from this position now, because this is how CSS works, and this is how coordinate system in the UI works. So it starts from the top left, so the top and left, that's the coordinate 0 comma 0. So that's why if we start from this position, then the origination would be this, the origin would be this. But what we actually want is to shift the origin to this position. So to do this, it's pretty easy. So whatever position we're getting here, the x and the y, just subtract this with the radius of the circle, and we will get the new origin. So basically we're shifting the origin to some other position, so that it originates from this point, and it moves up from this origin. So that's how we are doing this. So if you see in the code, I'm getting the x, getting the y, subtracting, and then subtracting the radius as well. So that's how I'm doing this. Now ripple is a div element, so ripple the style top, left, width, and height. So yeah, that's about it. So let us see in the demo one more time. So if I click here, wherever I clicked, this origination point of the ripple. So that's it for this video. I hope you learned something, and yeah, stay tuned for more such videos like this. Bye.